It's a special presentation of EA Sports from the Coliseum in Oakland, our tribute to the coach, the John Madden Legacy Game. I'm Brandon Gaudin here to take you through the proceedings, and coming up, we're going to tell the story of a man who was truly larger than life and whose impact on the sport of football certainly it's going to live on for decades and decades to come. Now, we've assembled a couple of rosters featuring some of Coach's favorite players from both yesterday and today, and Coach himself will be on the sidelines for both squads, trying to motivate his guys to victory. I'm joined now by my good friend Charles Davis. CD, your thoughts on John Madden and what he meant to the sport he loves so much?
For me, Brandon, it's the word joy. He brought that to the game of football, brought the game to so many people. He stayed involved his entire life. And moving forward, when you think of football, you're always going to think John Madden.
The Coliseum back to its original 70s glory. What a scene in the East Bay, and we're underway in the John Madden Legacy Game. And they will elect to not bring this one out as our first drive will begin at the 25. So it's the NFC stars who will get the ball first. And Charles, as we alluded to, we've got a different era of coach on each sideline. So the man coaching this NFC squad, we'll call him Young John Madden. This is a coach who was trying to establish a foothold in the NFL and on the cusp of doing it very successfully.
Yeah, you think back to that period, those early days as the coach of the Raiders, the late 60s in the AFL and then in the NFL in the early 70s. Coach was a guy who was ahead of his time. The Raiders were one of the first teams to have mini camps, one of the first to film practice because he wanted to practice coaching as much as he could. And his teams, they were successful right from the start of his head coaching tenure.
They start on the ground here at Sanders, and he'll take this ahead for about 4. Second down coming up. 2nd and 6, just inside the 30. Here's Favre to throw. He's going to drop this down to Sanders, and he'll be brought down right around the 37. So as we mentioned at the top, well, let's take you through the life of John Madden. And, you know, it's very fitting that we're here back in the Bay Area, not just because John's so associated with Raider football, but also because this was where he spent his formative years.
Yeah, he grew up over in Daly City with his buddy John Robinson, who would also become an NFL head coach. And he played his high school ball at Jefferson High, eventually wound up playing tackle at the University of Oregon and later Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. Played well enough that in 1958, he was a 21st round draft pick of the Philadelphia Eagles. That's right, the draft had 30 rounds then.
Now Favre. And that falls to the ground, incomplete. A nice job of bodying him up defensively, and now it brings up 3rd down. Favre. Pressure, and the AFC gets to him for the sack. Call it a loss of 4 there on the sack. And speaking of the number 4, it brings up 4th down now.
Partner, the Mike linebacker, the middle linebacker has so many different responsibilities. How excited do you think he was to get home with that blitz?
Yeah, he wants a sack. He got it. So on 4th down, here's the Australia native Mitch Wishnowsky to punt this one away. Back deep, 2-time Pro Bowler Dante Hall. This is taken around the 12. So a good punt there, but a nice return of 11 yards. And the AFC will take over 1st and 10. So, Charles, as mentioned, we've got another Coach Madden over here on the AFC sideline. Of course, his Raiders, members of the AFC West. So this is a conference he battled in for his entire career. And you think about the landscape of the NFL as he was getting into the back half of his tenure. It was a golden era for coaches. You had Don Shula, Tom Landry, Chuck Noll, Bud Grant. But it was John Madden who had the best winning percentage of them all, CD. 759, the best ever.
Brandon, it's hard to believe he could be so successful in a conference with all those great teams. The Steelers won 4 Super Bowls. The Dolphins won 2 and were a mainstay in the playoffs. The Colts were tough. The Broncos came on late and went to a Super Bowl themselves. But against Hall of Fame coaches, John Madden's record, 36, 16, and 2. That's pretty incredible. His Raiders were a factor each and every year.
They keep it on the ground. Allen again. And he's swallowed up right near the line of scrimmage. But Charles, you mentioned Coach was a 21st-round draft pick back in 1958. Was the Philadelphia Eagles who selected him. But unfortunately for John, knee problems, they just continued to dog him. He was hurt in his first training camp. Actually never saw the field as a player in the NFL. But it was still during his time with the Eagles, you and I were talking about this before going on air, that you could start to see the light bulb going on for what his career path might entail.
And it went on in a big way, didn't it? Because while he was rehabbing his knee, he started to spend a lot of time breaking down film with the Eagles, with quarterback Norm Van Brocklin, the future Hall of Famer and future head coach in the NFL. Remember, Norm Van Brocklin coached with the Falcons, he coached with the Vikings. And it was there, during that time, I think Coach Madden realized his love of football and love for teaching, combining all that together, and that meant being a football coach. So in 1960, began his coaching career at a small college south of San Luis Obispo called Allen Hancock, and then later at San Diego State University under another legendary coach, the guy who could throw it around pretty well, Don Coryell.
Now Allen. And some determined running there as he'll pick his way down to the 12-yard line. 11 yards there, first down. Well, Charles, you know, it was in the early 1960s that a young John Madden made the acquaintance of the owner of the Oakland Raiders, one Al Davis, of course, and the two, they really bonded, would become one of the best owner-coach duos in NFL history. And to take it a step further, Al Davis became someone who John referred to as his best friend.
Yeah, 1967, Brandon. Al Davis hired Coach Madden to be a linebackers coach. Remember, this was still the AFL at that point. We had not merged totally with the NFL. And Coach Madden, he paid dividends almost immediately. Helped the Raiders win the AFL title in 1968. And that meant a date with the Green Bay Packers in what was now known as Super Bowl II. But by 1969, at the age of 32, just 32, Brandon, John Madden assumed the mantle of head coach of the Oakland Raiders. And what a ride he, the Raiders, and the NFL were about to go on.
Here's Brady to throw. Flush to his right. And that is caught for an AFC touchdown. Tony Gonzalez from 6 yards away. And they are able to strike first here on their opening drive.
I thought that was a nice job there, feeling the pressure and rolling out away from it and keeping the play alive. And I think he did it with the idea that his tight end would find his way free in the end zone, and his confidence was rewarded.
Now Adam Vinatieri for the point after. Oh, and now they're going to fake it. And he is not going to make it. They stop him up short, and this will remain a 6-0 ball game. I thought the days of the fake extra point were numbered once they moved these kicks back to the 15. Apparently, I was mistaken.
Yeah, I was wondering who was ever going to try to do this. In fact, I quit wondering. I didn't think it would ever happen. Taking a fake from the 15-yard line to try and pick up an extra point, I didn't think anyone would ever call this.
Ready to begin their next drive here, the NFC offense. As we eke closer and closer to intermission, Charles, remember last time out they punted. They would love to get points here, especially if this is going to be their final possession of the first half.
Yeah, and this is what close games feel like because the pressure is on both sides, but sometimes the pressure is a little bit higher on the team with the slight edge because they're trying to hold on to that, trying to increase it. Let's see how this one continues.
Favre's throw here, hauled in by Kupp. And he's taken down, but able to slip across the 35. First down now, but that clock rolling. Now this throw caught left side. And he'll have it past midfield almost to the 40 before being taken down. A good pickup there, a 22. Charles, you talked about John Madden and the Raiders going on a ride. Well, try these numbers on for size. In 10 seasons as a head coach, the Raiders won their division 7 times. They finished second the other 3 times, and he became the youngest coach to amass 100 career regular season victories and is still, to this day, the franchise leader in wins.
And when you think about it, that's where that rivalry with Kansas City really took root, as did the expression commitment to excellence. And boy, was it personified by the players who played for Coach Madden. On offense, how about quarterback Kenny Stabler, wide receiver Cliff Branch, wide receiver Fred Biletnikoff, tight end Dave Casper, to name a few. How about those great linemen he had? Center Jim Otto, guard Gene Upshaw, tackle Art Shell, all of them in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And guys on the defensive side of the ball, the Mad Stork himself, Ted Hendricks, Willie Brown, John Matuzak, Otis Sistrunk, and Big Ben Davidson. So many great players, so many great memories.
Favre over the middle, complete. That's Sanders. And they're going to get this down inside the 20.
Just about every quarterback is trained to really look downfield first before you come back and make a nice, safe throw. And in this case, that's exactly what he did. Found his running back, let him create some space, and it turned out to be a nice play for the offense.
Throwing is Favre. This one into the hands of Kittle, the tight end. And he'll be marked down right at the 15-yard line. Now the NFC going to use their 3rd and final timeout as they stop it with 16 seconds to go in half number 1. Line of scrimmage, the 15. It's 1st and 10. To throw is Favre. And they're going to get him. He's sagged back around the 28. Javon Curse. What a play by him. That's going to go as a loss of 13. Coming up in the second half, we'll run through John's post-coaching triumphs. But for now, we present a special tribute to the man of the hour, narrated by the Raiders' own Trey Mosley. We now proceed to the start of the second half. The AFC going to get the football first here as we are back underway from Oakland in the John Madden Legacy game. Dante Hall going to bring it out of the end zone. And all in all, a pretty solid return. Nearly got it to the 35. They'll mark him down officially at the 34. Now the AFC making their way out, and it's one of Coach's favorites, another local guy, Tom Brady, who will be at the controls. And boy, Coach always admired the way number 12 could run an offense, and especially his ability to stay calm under pressure.
Tom Brady is a guy who's always looking downfield. He never looks at the rush. He hangs in the pocket, and he makes a throw. He's a cool guy, and he's a tough guy. Let me tell you, there's no one calmer in the pocket than Tom Brady.
And I know that Coach has a great appreciation for Tom Brady, who turned 45 back on August 3rd, because Coach coached a guy like him in George Blanda, who played a long time in the NFL. In this game, it features legends and active players. Tom Brady qualifies as both.
So now, Charles, to pick up the story we've been telling, John Madden at 42. He just completed a 10-year stint as the coach of the Raiders. He wants to step away a bit from the grind of coaching, but he doesn't want to step away from the game of football. So he ends up signing on with CBS in 1979 to try his hand at broadcasting. And much like his coaching career, he was pretty much an instant success.
Partner, he really connected with the people right from the start, and people may not remember, he wasn't even on the #1 team in the beginning. He worked his way up. But the same things that made him a great coach made him a great broadcaster. The ability to show the big picture, yet break it down into the details. That's what he did with his teams. That's what he did with the people. That way, he was simple to understand, yet insightful for viewers. And he did with that big personality that he had, one that connected with everyone.
A third down now. Those last two plays indicative of how things have gone for them. Just nowhere to go on the ground and struggling to put up points. Oh, he can't get away, and Brady will go down. Credit the great Michael Strahan with a sack.
That would be exactly what they were looking for coming out to start the third quarter. Get a sack, get off the field, get the momentum going in their direction.
Get the ball back to your offense, right? Get that momentum because, hey, this lead is very, very slim. And now the punt team couldn't get ready in time, and this is going to be a delay. That flag accepted, and it backs the offense up a little bit. Here's Ray Guy now as the drive goes backwards, so he's on to punt it away. And they're going to fake it from deep in their own territory. How about that for a call? Leading in the second half, fake punt, but this one's going to work against them.
And, partner, I love a fake punt as much as anyone. In fact, I might love it more than other people, but in this case, probably a step too far because not only does it not work, but look at the field position they gave up after the attempt.
The NFC heading back out. Hall of Famer Randy Moss a part of this offense. And Coach Madden, boy, he always appreciated the ferociousness with which number 84 attacked the football in the air.
As Randy Moss says, just chunk it up there, dog, and I'll go get it.
And, Coach, boy, did he ever go get it. Over 15,000 receiving yards, 156 touchdowns. And how about this? From his rookie year of 1998 until 2009, those were his prime seasons, right? He led the league in touchdowns 5 times, but even more so, he showed us all how to go up and get it. Great body control. No one's ever done it better playing the ball in the air.
It's a second down run with Sanders. And they work this near the 5. He'll be stopped at the 6. It's a good gain of 11. Sets him up first and goal.
We don't talk about it very often, but sometimes there's a dip in intensity when you start the second half, which can manifest itself in some sloppy tackling. And how about right there? He ran right through that weak tackle attempt.
From the shotgun, it's Favre. And he's going to be dropped. Back at the 15-yard line. In for the sack, Myles Garrett. The first and goal looked like things were set up nicely, and now all of a sudden on second and goal, Charles, a big challenge ahead of them.
And you have to know when you're this close to the goal line, things are going to happen faster, so you've got to get the ball out quick. Not going to have much time in the pocket before the defenders bring pressure.
First down, a bit of a disaster, and now on second and goal, back even further. Up the middle they go with Sanders. And this has been a familiar sight all afternoon as they stop him behind the line. It's a loss of 4. Now third down.
This defense is just flat getting after it. They have not given up much of anything in the run game. Case in point right there.
They've been denied touchdowns in the red zone twice already. Here comes third and goal. He'll look to throw. Throw right side, going to be complete to Moss. And they're going to be set up now with the ball at the 13-yard line.
One hallmark of good defenses is understanding the game, understanding positioning, and tackling immediately in the secondary after catches. I think we just saw that on display right there.
Got to him before he ever had a chance to think about turning it upfield. Now Morton Anderson for the field goal try. This will be spotted at the 20, so it's a 30-yard attempt. The Hall of Famers kick is good, and they are on the board, trailing now 6-3. So, Charles, they are on the board after that kick. So 3 drives, 3 points. Obviously not the start that you were hoping for, but they're able to erase that 0 off the scoreboard.
Yeah, I guess what you're saying is a point of drive is not what offenses are striving for by any stretch. They're happy they've got 3 now. They hope that that unlocks their offense for bigger points down the road.
3 quarters complete now in the John Madden legacy game from Oakland. It's the AFC on top, and we're back to the Coliseum after this. The AFC offense set to take their next drive. They're holding on right now to that slim advantage in a 1-score game, and you hear a lot about 2-minute offense and 4-minute offense. Obviously, the 4-minute offense applies here. How do they run that effectively?
Yeah, really what the 4-minute offense is you're just trying to grind the clock. So you want consistent gains, steady gains. Doesn't have to be big plays, but it has to be plays that gets first downs and keeps the ball away from your opponent.
But certainly throwing the ball is in the mix here.
It certainly is. Just make sure that you're careful with it. And again, get those first downs, keep possession of the football.
So from the 36 now, 1st and 10. Inside handoff here to Ricard. And he's across the 40, 3 extra yards to the 43. So for Coach Madden, Charles, by 1981, his broadcasting career is really taking off. He's elevated to the network's #1 booth that calls all the big matchups. And he gets the plum assignment of calling Super Bowl 16, 49ers and Bengals, and he's teamed up with Pat Summerall. And that pairing ultimately would go on to be one of the most influential in sports broadcasting history.
Influential not just in us listening to them. Remember, they went on and called 8 Super Bowls together. But how they put together kind of the template that all of us broadcasters follow now. Sitting down with the head coaches and the quarterbacks and the stars of each team before a ball game to get extra information. And the way that those two paired together, Pat Summerall, short, concise, to the point, and turned it over to Coach Madden to fill in all the big details.
A run there on 1st down, and a pretty good one of 5 yards, so make it 2nd and 5. So 2 minutes to play in the John Madden legacy game. The AFC clinging on to a slim lead. We're back to Oakland after this. Now a carry for Allen. And he'll get this down only to about the 46. So fresh out of the 2-minute warning, and here's another timeout taken with 1:55 remaining. Now this is a big 3rd down, and you'd have to think we'd see a timeout right away if they can't stop him here. Back to throw, Brady. Well, that's complete to the fullback, Ricard. Now the NFC going to take a timeout, their 2nd, and they'll be disappointed to have to burn one there after giving up the 1st down. Now a give up the middle to Bettis. And that one opened up for him well as he'll take this down to the 26-yard line. Now the defense will burn their 3rd and final timeout as they'll head to the sideline and talk over what to do next. They're not totally home free yet, but it's looking good as they come up 1st and 10. Again, they'll run with Bettis. And he's going to take this down to about the 17. As you mentioned, CD, talking about John Madden, the broadcaster, he called 8 Super Bowls with Pat Summerall, 3 more with Al Michaels later in his career. He spent nearly 3 decades in the booth all told. And not only was he beloved for his mannerisms, we know that, but he was an innovator as well.
Yeah, Brandon, you talk about things like the telestrator, which totally became identified with him, and now it's a staple for all analysts to have in the booth. And then you think about things like turducken on Thanksgiving, when he used words like boom and pow. He helped create the old Madden team. He was a very popular commercial pitch man. And even the Madden Cruiser was unique, and you had to be someone to get a ride on it, too.
Here's Allen. And he's going to battle his way down right around the 2-yard line. 66 yards on the ground for him so far.
The recipe's pretty simple, I think, right? Just give your superstar the ball, continue to feed him.
Yeah, don't overthink this one, right? Make sure he's touching the football, but you're also counting on...
And he's across for the touchdown. And in the final minute, that should just about seal it. Very much, Charles, a statement drive right there.
And the big guys up front love this type of a statement. They like being relied upon to move the line of scrimmage and create space for their runners, and they did exactly that on that drive. And how about the payoff? Running it again into the end zone, and that's the kind of drive that sends a message to the defense.
And a big score they needed to add on to that slim lead they had. Now Adam Vinatieri for the point after. And it's up and good to make the score 13-3. A pretty long drive that time. 11 plays all told. And it's culminated by a 2-yard touchdown run. And here's Vinatieri now to kick it away after the touchdown. Hester going to decide against a return, and they will spot this at the 25. The offense for the NFC ready to get their next drive started. They might be thinking this is close to a lost cause here. Got to play it out. What do they need to do?
Well, they have a thought process in mind already, but they can't get ahead of themselves. They know that they need to score quickly.
Yep, 2-score game.
Onside kick and get the ball back, and then score again. But they can't worry about the last 2 points. The only thing that matters is score.
So it's a win here for the AFC on an incredible afternoon of football and remembering the life of John Madden. Before we go, one final message, and for all of us at EA Sports, this one's for you, Coach.
I just say this, I thank you all very much. This has been the sweetest ride of them all.